All right. Is everybody ready already?
Indeed.
Yes.
All right. Let's hit it. Hello, and welcome to our humble little podcast. This is Atlantis After Dark, the greatest place in all of cyberspace. I found out that dolphins are the only other animals besides humans that enjoy sex for pleasure. I had to fuck a lot of animals to figure that out, too. I'll tell you what, I'm ready to go already. I think you guys are too, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it and meet today's All-Stars. Warming up in the bullpen. Last night his wife told him they could watch a porno and do everything they saw in the video. He was super psyched until she blew the pizza guy. It's biffed by Adam West. What's the word, dude?
What's going on, everyone?
How goes it, man?
Oh, it's great. Everyone, you're going to be listening to this episode about 25 minutes later than you probably could have because of my technical issues. So for that, I apologize.
Yeah, blame Biff. It's Super Bowl Sunday, man. People got things to do, right? They got dips to do. You got a smoker to start, don't you?
I got 4 different things going on this moment.
Oh my God. Well, we'll try and wrap it up. We'll try and wrap it up quick for you. All right. Next up, he's the Sorcerer Supreme of cyberspace. He told me that he did his very first nude painting. I said, wow, that's very classy. He said, yeah, it was awesome. The neighbors weren't happy, but the front door looks great. It's Retpmus. What's happening, Big Kahuna?
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to get a good laugh. It's always great. Thanks for everyone being here.
Good deal. Good deal. Glad to have you, buddy. Up next, he's the gangster of ganja. His wife told him, you need to do more chores around the house. He said, can we please change the subject? She said, fine. More chores around the house need to be done by you. It's Sekju. Welcome, sir.
Hey, I do my fair share.
It's English.
Thanks for having me, AB. Happy to be here on this fine Sunday, this fine Super Bowl Sunday.
It is. We're going to try and get you guys in and out of here, too. Welcome, sir. Everybody knows this next All-Star. He got fired from his job at the sperm bank. Turns out you're not allowed to nudge a coworker and say, get a load of this guy every time someone walks in. It's Tewty. Welcome to the show, pal.
I love that. That's funny.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I was in a mood before this that I was like, I'm not going to laugh at anything today. I'm not in the mood. And then you hit me with that grammar joke for Sekju, and I was like, that's good.
That was a good one. I liked it.
Yeah. We go all kinds of places here on Double AD. Welcome to the show, pal. Last but not least, from the hidden isle of Themyscira, she tells me she likes her men like she likes her coffee. I said, really? She said, yeah, sort of hot and picked up at the gas station. It's Witty Amazon. What's happening out there on Paradise Island?
Nothing wrong with that.
Sort of hot and picked up at the gas station. We gotta have
strategy.
goals. What's that?
Broke dick is the best dick.
It's a good way to find out what kind of car he drives.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
But sometimes big cars or good cars means they are overcompensating for other stuff. So
True.
That's right.
Psychology for everyone.
This is where I proudly announce I drive a Hyundai.
Welcome, one and all. We are glad to have all of you with us. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into some DCL. So we haven't talked anything about the new tunes yet, and I don't know if we're going to talk too much about Rocket because they're the Siege character, and I don't know too many of you. I mean, show of hands, how many people here have Rocket, I guess? Is it?
I do, but she's only like 2 stars, but I mean,
okay.
Got some experience.
What's a rocket?
The thing I have in my desk, my drawer next to my bed.
The thing you have in your drawers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Pocket rocket.
There's nothing wrong with that either. So Tewty has a rocket, and nobody else has a rocket, right? Everybody else is rocketless.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Well, I want to hear what Tewty has to say about his rocket.
Oh, honey.
He just told you it was only
let's
2
talk
stars.
about the one in DCL, not the one in your nightstand.
I was gonna say he just told us all it was only 2 stars.
Yeah,
I
but you
bet
never
you the
know.
one in the nightstand is more than 2 stars.
I've lost it before in a place you don't want to hear about.
Oh my god!
man.
So, as opposed to any rocket discussion, we'll talk a little bit about Icon. Icon, and I don't know. Again, forgive me. I don't play the game. What's so special about Icon?
It's that iconic dick.
It's
that
an iconic
rocket.
dick. That iconic rocket.
That's all I can hearing about him. So it's just his dick.
Amazing junk,
I
right?
thought that his sidekick's name was Rocket.
Is that his best feature or what?
I don't know. I hear that he frequents gas stations. No, I like Rocket, or not Rocket, Icon. Fuck.
Yeah. See.
Icon, like at first I wasn't as excited with the kit and playing with him, and I've got him at L4 now, and he's 80, fully ranged, all that jazz, yada yada. And he's a lot of fun. Like, he's a pretty tanky green, and if you can get him shielded, he starts doing some fun shit. Like, I don't know how he's going to fit into the current meta, and as far as utility versus like Cheshire, Trigon, Cyborg, Superman, things like that. But if you can work him into like some of these other events, he's been fun for me to play with this week. And I was so annoyed with a lot of shit this week in PvP, and just getting to use him a bit in Showdown has at least been a good time. I like that he calls assists. His 2 seems like it's always cooled down as long as he's shielded. Again, he just seems to process those call assists and the passive use of his first quite a bit. I've been running him. I posted a couple videos, I think, of me running him with, the typical people you'd expect to shield, like Alan Scott, running him with Cyborg Superman. And he does some really neat things. So I like to pair him up with tunes that call assists so you can ramp his intelligence using his basic attack. That way, whenever he uses his 2 AoE attacks, he does pretty decent damage to the enemy team. The fact that he has 2 moves that hit under shields also make him pretty useful. So I don't know. It's an interesting kit, and I like it, but I'm not going to say that he's like a game changer, but I like it.
Sure.
So I just did an episode on him myself, and I was a little underwhelmed at the time. WB decided to give him an immediate stat boost right after his release. And I think that was actually the wrong decision, because the stats were never the problem. He always had special tank gear stats or whatever. And that is like, I think, the preferable gear for him. What the problem, I think, is the damage modifiers on his abilities are just so low that I don't think that he can deal enough damage. Like, you have to have him shielded, and you have to have him with int ups. Otherwise, he's tickling people, It's not that great. He's using his pocket rocket to, stimulate the enemy team, not, make them walk funny the next day. And so I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, he has the potential to be really, really good. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's a basic kit, but it's a solid kit. And he needs some help, I think, first. Like, he needs someone to spam up some int ups on him, like Lex or GREEEAAAT or something like that. And then he can kind of take off a little bit. But until that happens, he's just kind of there.
I've actually, in very limited use, I've actually been somewhat impressed. And maybe I've just gotten lucky, because this is not a huge sample size by any stretch, but his 2 has been attacking twice, certainly more than 40%. That it says I almost seem like almost 100% of the time he's attacking twice. I think his kit's all over the place. I don't think obviously, yes, it's a tank. It's not a damage dealer. And interesting. And I actually decided to maybe go more all in than I would, because as everyone listening to this knows, I have no idea who this character is. But after researching him, I'm actually a little bit of a Civil War buff. So I was actually interested in the character and the lore because of his story. So I decided to, give him a shot. And so far I've been a little impressed, but I think I've been more lucky than what he actually does, because in talking to everyone else in the know, like Tewty, Sekju, Miss Junk, I was chatting with her about him. I think maybe I've had a little better experience than most so far.
Well, at least that's encouraging. I mean, maybe you just have good RNG. Who knows?
Oh, you know me.
You're the king of good RNG, right?
Well, no, I'm actually okay. Like, I've always found RNG to be accurate.
This is Harley Quinn always
Accurate.
dodges.
Well, no, my Harley Quinn always dodges. That's the one where I've been
Mine
very
never does.
good
so-
with.
Yeah, I know.
No, but like for example, my impulse stuns 70% of the time. I can set my clock by it, 7 out of 10. Like, I've never been an RNG complainer. The only RNG complaint I've ever had is, I believe, against me, Supergirl's 1 is can't miss. That's it. That's the only thing I've ever seen that was so far off what the kits say.
I think I might have had a bad sample size too, because in my recording I got like teams that were like 1 green and the rest of them were blues. Like, I got shat on by like a lot of blue characters, and I think that was probably part of the reason why I didn't have a good experience. But if he's up against a bunch of reds, he's gonna slaughter them because he's got 2 AoEs that are constantly up. So, I mean, like I said, he's a good character. He just needs a smidgen of help in order to get like amazing.
Witty, what do you think? I mean, is there anything you can disagree?
Much experience with him, because I haven't been playing that much outside Blitz right now, and the experience I have with him is as an enemy, not as much as
Oh.
playing the character, because like BIFF, I don't even know who he is for that matter, so I'm not as invested as everyone else. But from what I've seen and from what I've experienced against him, I do think the shields and the intups make a very good difference. And I think I was in a fight where I had 3 reds and a mystic. The mystic was gone already, and he murdered all 3 of them, and he was the only character left. So he kept spamming one of his moves and killed them all. So he's not amazing, but I would say he does his job, and for a character that most of us probably don't know anything about, it's okay that he doesn't have an OP kit.
Right.
'Cause-
Here Biff can help you out with the lore on that.
Oh, I can be the lore king on this guy now, after just researching. So I just did it on Wiki, but it's more around, he was a black man that fought in the Civil War.
He's actually an alien that took the form of an African American man.
Is he?
correct.
Oh, okay.
Correct.
This is why he's not the lore king.
Which is why, yes, exactly. Details are not my strong suit as it relates to comic lore, but I do like where he was set. I do like what he fought for in the Civil War. And even though he was pretending to be a black male and was actually a very powerful alien.
Mm-hmm. It was kind of cool that, like, in his story, that he just abided by our culture at the time, and he just literally worked his way up like a normal person would be to, a high status. I mean, that was kind of like inspirational in the comic.
Right. Because he was actually, as presenting himself as a black man, he became a slave, correct?
Yeah.
In the Civil War, and then fought in the Civil War for the Union. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what the Civil War was about. I think the average person thinks the Civil War was about slavery, and it really wasn't. That was an offshoot, and a very important and awesome offshoot of the Union winning the Civil War. But there were so many black men that fought, and the result of it was their freedom him, even though that wasn't what the war was about at the time. So there's your history lesson.
See, that's the kind of stuff we needed to know. That was a great segment, by the way, because you know, since the month started, it was like, oh my god, the sidekick gets to be the siege tuned, and no one knows who this guy is, so why should I be invested in him? So there you go.
Black history.
Icon abolished slavery in the United States.
What did you say, Sekju?
Nice. What?
What did you say?
I said Black History Month. That's
yeah, okay.
Black History Month. That's
I
bring some relevance to the character.
One of the funniest lines I've ever heard from a comedian was Chris Rock when he said Black History Month. They put it on the shortest month on the calendar.
That's funny.
I was a little surprised when the fourth character, like the second rework, was Stripe, and I was like, you couldn't throw like one more black character in there, like Vixen or Black Manta, or like there's a good chunk of black characters in the game that could use some love. And
yeah, when they announced the new tunes, I kind of expected it to be Vixen.
Yeah, and
now it's the white robot.
It's the very white robot.
The white guy driving the robot.
A very white robot.
The white robot.
He's shiny.
Oh boy.
So who do you guys like playing with Icon? Because we're all saying he needs help. Like who are you using to help him? Like I was toying around with like
Starger for the shields.
Definitely. Oh yeah, that's a natural. But I was toying around actually with Saint Walker today, even to boost his damage because of the 20% extra, but also to give him the shields and to call his assist to make him punch twice to ramp his intelligence.
Saint Walker can't do shit anymore. Like
I know
the guy is so squishy
right now. Yeah.
He dies to the Spectre AoE, and I'm like, you are a blue as well. Why are you dying so easily?
He's so skinny.
It's true.
He doesn't kill me with very much help.
Icon can punch him and stun him, so he doesn't hit him on the first turn. So sometimes it works. It takes the right team to fight against. But anyway,
by the way, Icon has the ability to ignore not be stunned too.
Yeah,
which is critical for greens.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
I feel like a lot of them are going to get that new buff as well. That can be
it's been
stunned
making the passes lately.
Yeah,
because so many characters stunned too.
Alan Scott is probably one of the best to put him with.
Oh yeah,
and surprisingly, Dr. Fate's pretty good because of his huge shield that he puts up.
Plus intups,
yeah.
I was going to say Fate would be next. The only problem, I honestly wish that Icon put out like a healer buff immunity somewhere to like, help out Fate a little bit.
Yeah, Fate needs some love. They did him dirty.
I mean, good and bad on Fate, but we're not talking about Fate.
We should.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are talking about right now.
We are now.
If Retpmus is on
Oh man,
we'll talk about Fate. Speaking of heal, like how strong is Black Lightning's heal?
Amazing.
Very, very strong.
That's what I wanted for Raven.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. By the way, and it hits his strong suit. I mean, his damage is out of this world. He does very great damage, but he keeps stunning the enemies. He keeps buffing himself. He keeps healing the his teammates. I mean, they did a great job with him.
Yeah, Black Lightning is great.
Yeah,
like, really, really good. Honestly, like his basic fucking destroys people.
Yeah.
Like Black Lightning's got a bigger dick than Icon.
All right. Well, maybe that's as good a transition as any. Speaking of dicks, let's get together and talk a little bit about what's his name? God, why can't I think of his name right now? Oh,
Stripe or
James Gunn. That's his name. James Gunn. So it's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show, and I just want to take a little bit of time to go over this. Maybe I had somewhat controversial takes on this, and I don't know that I need to really explain it much more than what it is. But we'll get into that in a minute. This is this announcement is equal parts huge and baffling to me. And I want to go around. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because maybe I'm seeing this from a different lens.
It's the Gunn verse now.
It's
basically
the Gunn verse. Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah. Instead of the Snyderverse, it's the Gunn verse. It's like,
right.
Let's make sure all my shows stay on. Nobody on my, that I've made gets the boot.
Right.
Let's make sure my wife's projects get on and none of her stuff gets booted. And like everything that I like, make sure I make it. And not what the fans want. Because who asked for what he's presenting? Who asked for a Waller TV show? Who asked for I mean, like everything he brought out. I mean, I didn't see like any rave reviews like, oh yes, I've wanted that for so long. I am so glad they finally did that.
I think what I don't like is the way that he muted the big, I guess the big characters, your Wonder Woman and your Batman, with calling it Paradise Lost, and it's not even about
show,
Wonder Woman. It's just
Game
about
of Thrones with all women.
Right. Which I mean, cool if you want to do that, but it's not Wonder Woman.
It's supposed to happen way before, I think, Wonder Woman.
Right.
It's supposed to be in the past, I believe. Well, I mean, there's a comic book story that's out about that, and I think he's basing it off that story. And basically, what it is when all the Amazons live on the island, okay, and then when they breed, they also, there's males that are born as well, and all those males were given to Hephaestus. And Hephaestus was the god that made all the armor and weapons for all the other gods. So they became like all his group. And the story in that was basically like Diana at the time, because, she's lived thousands of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I heard the story was supposed to be before her, but I don't know. But in the comic book, she was around, and she finds out and she wants to re-implement them into the society with them because they're her brothers. They're like their family. They're not a reject just because they're a male. And she basically tells everybody this is how it is. They're going to be part of it. Well, she's called off on a mission, and all the Amazons are like, Diana's gone, kill them all. And it becomes like a big slaughter mess is basically what it turns into.
I think you should do it before her time, because I mean, I don't think it's going to get Gal Gadot to be in a TV show rather than a movie. And honestly, if it's not that actress playing Wonder Woman, I'm not sure he's going to be very successful with that.
Yeah.
Unless it's an Elseworlds kind of situation, another Earth or whatever. I think firing another one of the beloved actors we had in the DC world, it's not going to be a good move for him. So it should be setting before her. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to have a lot of fans.
And I think I understand what he's doing. Like, I like the whole thing about the Creature Commandos. So it's a cartoon. So, that'll be kind of cool. And I like those obscure characters as a cartoon. That's all fine. But when he's like really veering off a lot, I think he's bringing out the Authority because he wants that to be like the reverse Justice League that they're going to end up eventually fighting in the end, is what I believe is what it's going to lead up to. And then the whole thing about Supergirl, they're doing the whole thing about going off of a storyline that I don't really think is that great anyway. It's like, I think it's Woman of Tomorrow or something like that.
The title isn't as great because Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the whole story, they're changing her so much. If that's not going to be the Elseworld tagline and she's going to be in the continuity, it's going to be completely different with Superman and Batman when they all come together. I don't know. It just, the whole lineup. I mean, what was it like? Batman Brave and the Bold. I like the idea of them bringing out Damian, so that way it'll have like the father-son relationship. I think that'd be kind of cool. Superman Legacy. Everybody was like, oh, they're just bringing that out because the word legacy means what you carry on, and they're just bringing Superman out to kill him. Well, I believe that they mean legacy as like he's the last son of Krypton. He's to carry out the legacy. Like that's what I think he's really meaning, but I could be wrong. I don't think he would just bring him out to kill him because he actually said for truth, justice, and the American way. So he's going back to the old school Superman that he's bringing back. So that's kind of like, could be a positive, could be a
So
negative. I don't know.
I don't know a whole lot about the specific storylines that he has mentioned in his little plan. Although I do, what my big issue with it, and here's like, in the end, it doesn't really matter what my issue with it is, as long as it's well carried out, it shouldn't matter. But um he's starting the universe off with all these obscure characters. And
Right.
granted, Gunn has had success in the past with that. Like, he's the one who, brought the Guardians of the Galaxy to the forefront. He's, had Suicide Squad success as well. But like, if you're gonna restart the entire DC universe, it cannot start without the Justice
The A-list characters, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, why are we starting
But
off with
it-
all of these smaller characters
Right.
that don't really
Blue
have
Beetle.
a
Yeah.
role in the universe unless the Justice League exists? Like,
Right.
Waller's role
Yeah,
in
exactly.
the universe is like the hidden government that works underneath of the Justice League and other things like that. And like, her whole point in the Suicide Squad was, what happens if Superman comes to kidnap the president? That's where
Right.
Waller steps in, kind of thing. And I don't see how any of that stuff before the Justice League could matter at all until the main characters have had their day. Another thing that I'm not a fan of is the fact that, I don't know what the future is for some of my beloved favorites already. Like, Shazam 2 is about to come out. I fucking love Shazam. This movie does
Mhm.
look great.
Yeah.
It does.
Is it going to be an Elseworlds? If it gets a third one, is Black Adam done? Like, I've seen a lot of articles about, The Rock's failure. I've never read a single one of them because I just don't want to fucking hear it.
Well, if
and-
you watch the little clip that James Gunn, when he announces all these, he said that everybody's going to be categorized in the Elseworld that's not in the main continuity. He
Right.
didn't say that specifically about Shazam, but if you listen, he said Shazam's always been out there by itself, away from everything else.
Right. And that gave me a little bit of hope, because I did
Yeah.
hear that and I was like, okay, that means that maybe he will integrate Shazam into his new universe, or it'll
Mhm.
be an Elseworlds title. That'd be cool. I still want to see Mr. Mind come back. I still want to see
Yes.
Black Adam come and fight Shazam. Those are storylines I
Yeah.
want to see.
Yeah. That's the
And I
money.
need to have happen in the third movie.
Yeah.
But is it going to happen? Is Jason Momoa going to switch over to Lobo and stop being Aquaman? Like, that would be a weird transition in my mind. But I don't know. Like I said, none of my critiques matter if he can pull it off in a
Yeah.
good way. But we have yet to see it, and that's why we're all skeptical.
Right.
I just had one question about that. You had been talking about they need to start with the iconic characters, and haven't they flat out said that Superman Legacy will be the starting point of the new shared
Yes.
universe?
Yes.
So that literally kind of meets the qualifier.
But boy, if you think about it, isn't that the same way the Snyderverse started?
Yeah, more or less.
First show Superman.
Yeah, but what are all these other shows beforehand? Like, are they
They're not
Elseworlds?
beforehand, they're after.
He said that the first project that's gonna like be the main like story of the continuing DCU is
Is
gonna
Legacy.
be Superman Legacy. There's gonna be other projects, but they haven't released like what order they're coming out in.
I
So
thought
I
he
think
gave
that-
an exact timeline. Like, he's like, so Shazam's coming, then the Flash, and the Flash is
well,
going to
but that
reset
stuff's already
everything.
set to release. That's all from
Yeah.
before they even came in as the studio.
No,
heads. They've
I know
already
that.
said
I'm saying,
all of
like,
that's
He gave a timeline, though. That's my point. Like, he said,
yeah, but I
okay,
don't. Did he say when Creature Commandos was coming out in relation to the last Aquaman movie? Because the like Aquaman, or is it Blue Beetle, is the last one of the 4 projects that are coming out from the previous group.
I'm gonna look it up right now because I know that he put a whole tweet out with like a literal timeline. But give me a few minutes to do that. You guys keep going.
You believe?
Yeah, because I mean,
Alright.
the only thing I remember seeing that I thought was odd was I thought I saw that the Creature Commandos was the first thing listed in what was like a posted timeline, so to speak, but I never saw anything that this was the official timeline. That he gave like a list of the announced projects, and the first project
Yeah, it
announced
doesn't
was
have a
Creature
timeline.
Commandos.
From
Yeah,
what
so,
from where
like-
I've read, I don't see a timeline.
Like
But
somebody
but
made
but
a
I get
graphic.
what I get what Tewty's saying. Like, there's a show about I don't know what Creature Commandos is. A show about Amanda Waller. I mean, for crying out loud, she doesn't even deserve to be one of his first projects.
No.
I mean, again, we don't know
She's
what the
not- she's
project's
not-
going to
she's-
be, though.
Yeah, I know.
What if it's about
she's-
Checkmate and it features Amanda Waller, but it's about the whole organization?
She's not going to be the whole thing. There's going to be other characters in it. But I mean, a show named Waller. I mean, is she really that important in the DC world?
I mean, if you read the comics, she is.
Mm.
I mean, Checkmate's a pretty significant agency in the DC universe.
Yeah, let me ask you another question, Sekju. Who do you think, as a DC fan, has Amanda Waller as his favorite character?
Oh, well, nobody. Nobody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what we need to see our favorites, the things that we love in our heart.
You don't know what characters are going to be on the show. You're deciding that it's bad before you ever saw it.
I've said that. She's not going to be the only character in there, but the show's named Waller. Nobody has Waller as his favorite character.
We're not deciding it's going to be bad. We're just skeptical. We're just
yeah.
I mean, I like Viola Davis. She's a fantastic actress.
She is.
Nothing on her.
Yeah,
so she's not going to play the role bad at all. It's just the choice of shows is the subject, that we're
and from what we've seen, Waller in the previous movies, I haven't seen anything that fantastic about her. Even having such a great actress cast as that character. I just don't see the appeal, the importance of having her on the show.
So aside from that, I did find the tweet, and it's not exactly like a straight up timeline, but what I am curious about, because this was mentioned earlier, that the Flash is the thing that's supposed to reset the universe. But we still do have Blue Beetle and Aquaman coming after that project comes out. So like, if the reset happens before their movies drop, are the two other movies, or I don't know if Blue Beetle's a show or a movie, but are they considered part of the reset universe?
That's a good question.
Aquaman has had a gazillion of reshoots, so
does it does it like get
it may
considered
fit
as
the reshoots Flash has had? Because I'm reading a lot of articles. Michael Keaton is out, then they say he's in, then they say Batfleck is in, then Sasha Calle's Supergirl is out. We don't even know what's going to happen anymore. So
right.
So I believe the first one that actually is coming out is the cartoon Creature Commandos. But it's going to be on TV, on I think HBO Max.
Yeah, I think all the shows are going to be on HBO.
It's going to go Creature Commandos, Superman Legacy, Waller, The Authority movie, Booster Gold, Batman Brave and Bold, The Lanterns TV series, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, Paradise Lost, and then finish with Swamp Thing. That's the first part of the Gods and Monsters chapter.
But was that given as the official timeline? Because I thought that was just the order that the projects were announced. Because I saw the graphic that puts those all in order, but that was not an official graphic. Somebody just made that up and threw it online on like Collider.
He said those were the way they were coming out, but there's other ones he didn't announce that can be injected in there.
Okay.
Because remember, he said this is only the part he can tell us about.
Right.
He did specify that.
Right. So, and you just said something that made me think of another reason. You just brought up the fact that, oh God, my brain doesn't work anymore.
But injecting, you didn't announce it all?
No. Oh God, just go on without me. I'm sorry.
I am kind of excited for Swamp Thing.
Yeah. Swamp Thing would be cool, especially with what they did with that first show that got canceled.
Oh, that was so fantastic. That was so wrongly canceled too.
I think it'd be
bring that actor back.
It'd be phenomenal to see Booster Gold. I think the story idea of Booster is actually going to be really cool. Gunn seems really passionate about it, and the way he described it is really awesome. My biggest concern is with Batman, the Brave and the Bold, and the Lanterns, because like when you include Damian in a Batman story, there's a lot that comes with Damian. Like there's a lot of
baggage, baggage.
There's a lot of story baggage. Yeah. There's a lot of iconic relationships that kind of come with Damian, like the Talia story arc that you're going to have to cover or at least mention. His relationship with the other sons of Batman, Nightwing and Red Robin and all them, they're all fairly important connections and relationships to Damian. And I wonder how they're going to elaborate on that, or if they're not going to elaborate at all. And I think it would be very good if they included it in a nice, wholesome way. But
I'm sure they're going to do Nightwing because he's such a big character. So it'll probably be
Nightwing.
Yeah, it'll probably be Nightwing, because didn't they have like some type of camaraderie between Nightwing and Damian?
It's like a big brother relationship.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Kind of like a light rivalry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and I mean, it can be. Yeah.
Right.
I was just saying it can be done right. I mean, we're kind of like just taking the negative because of what we're given right now, and like you said, we don't know. I'm hoping for the positive, because I don't want to see it fail again, because it doesn't deserve to be. I mean, DC was renowned for the storytelling. I mean, it was like Marvel had like the great artists, but DC had the great storytellers. And you want the best storytelling, you would read DC comics. That's what always pulled me into DC, because they were really more in depth, and you just got more involved. You felt more for the characters, where I'm not saying Marvel's bad, because I love Marvel comics as well. I'm just saying the stories, we're talking back when the comics were made, before movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's what set them apart. It's just like, you want eye candy or do you want story depth? That's kind of like how I always pictured it. Not that stories were bad in Marvel, don't get me wrong, but I think you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where they're failing on the DC side, because they need those true stories back that get us to love these characters, that get us involved, that draw us in, that make us want, and root for these guys, not just like, oh man, they're releasing another X, Y, and Z movie. Come on. Why can't it be an A, B, and C movie?
Well, and see, here's the thing that I just remembered what I was going to say, right? The overarching issue to me is that they call this whole quote phase Gods and Monsters, right? But there's nothing to do with that storyline or comic whatsoever in any of the announcement that he's made.
Wasn't that New 52, Gods and Monsters?
I don't know if it was New 52. I think it was post New 52, actually.
Was it? Okay. I thought it was like the beginning of that.
No, I don't think it was the beginning. I think it was post that. I could be
a lot
wrong.
Of this is subject to change, because Gunn got hired in December, and had to throw all of this together like ASAP Rocky, and he's already got storyboards. He's got little, each of these little movies and shows have their own icon, already their little art,
like a little symbol or whatever,
right? Exactly. And it's like,
logos.
Okay, that is all subject to change, because the Batman the Brave and the Bold is a very old style art kind of thing, and it's kind of reminiscent of the 50s, but if you're including Damian and all that's a very modern story. So I don't think that symbol is going to last very long. Everything else seems pretty basic, so I guess we'll see. A draft. Yeah, it's a draft, I think. And Gods and Monsters is a title that he probably came up with on the spot because he had no other choice. It could easily change.
Wasn't there a animated where they were like an alternate version called Gods and Monsters, like of the Justice League?
There was. Yeah.
Yes.
I thought there was.
Yeah, that was. It was pretty decent.
Superman's actually the son of Zod, and
that's right. Yes.
Batman is actually Kurt Langstrom.
Wonder Woman is Barda.
And
right.
Wonder Woman is actually
Barda.
I think an escapee. Yeah, it's like, well, no, it's not Barda. It's somebody like Barda.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Character.
I remember that now.
Yeah,
it's an entertaining one. The take on Superman, I think, is particularly interesting since it's a Zod instead, but he still has a lot of compassion, even though he's kind of like a dictator. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, the fact that it didn't have anything to do with Gods and Monsters kind of, twerked my little tweeter a little bit. But
AB, if you could get the cricket sounder ready. I'll ask a question to the group. Is anyone else outraged that Pennyworth got canceled?
Not even slightly.
Poor
I
Biff.
am.
I was thinking about watching it after you
Poor
had talked
Biff.
so glowingly about it.
I love Pennyworth, and it just got canceled. And I was so disappointed.
Every show didn't it?
Yeah,
Except
like
Yeah, they
the
dropped
except
a nuke on
Peacemaker.
everything.
Patrol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I need me the next season of Peacemaker.
Oh, that's coming. Don't you worry. They just don't know when the hell it's coming, but apparently it's coming.
When by the way, when is and is Titans done?
Yes.
There's
Yeah,
there's
it's
6
been
more
canceled.
episodes and then
Right.
it's done.
When are those drop?
I don't think there's an official date yet, but the
Okay.
rumor mill
April.
was saying April. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
April.
Honestly, though, I'm okay with Titans ending. I didn't
Oh,
really.
shut up.
I watched. I watched a good chunk of it, and it was equally good as it was bad. Like there was a lot of great little things that I loved about it, and there was a lot of great little things I hated about it. The acting, most of all, the amount of characters they just kind of tossed in there just to do so, and then got rid of them fairly quickly. Like even Trigon, for fuck's sake.
They ruined Trigon's story.
Yeah, they
I
did.
didn't.
They did
Yeah.
really shit all over Trigon.
Yeah.
That
So
reminds me of. Sorry to interject. That reminds me of the Smallville Doomsday story.
Oh,
Yeah.
They kind of
what
did
about the
same-
Dark Side story? Jesus.
Yeah,
Oh, both of
they kind
them.
of did the same
John
thing.
Glover, Smoke Ghost.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I will always cherish the episode in season 3 of Titans where like they had a Batman and Red Hood like bonding episode. That was a fucking phenomenal episode. And I'm very happy that Red Hood got, actual live action screen time, which has never happened before. There's a lot of characters that they brought out that are awesome. But I don't think that it was as high quality as it should have been for a Titans show.
I will miss them. I mean, lately, at least for me, it was Stargirl and Titans were the most consistent shows. I mean,
Is
every
Stargirl
episode had.
canceled?
Oh yeah, Stargirl's
Oh
canceled.
yeah,
It's
it's
done.
over.
I liked Stargirl. That one was good.
She does have a cameo coming up in Flash, though. I think.
Yeah, no, in Titans,
Oh, it was in Titans. Sorry.
and that's when I started foreseeing the cancellation of the show, because Stargirl cameo when we knew she was going to be canceled, and now Raven with the white suit, they're
Mhm.
calling her Raven. Starfire is going to take her first flight and stuff like that. I mean, they're just going to give you all the things you wanted to watch.
And then it's
throughout the-
canceled. Yeah.
So
Damn.
I was happy that they were finally touching on the Superboy Lex Luthor heritage storyline.
yeah, that was a
finally.
good move.
And I agree with a lot of Tewty's criticisms of that show, but I still enjoyed it. Like, I'm notorious for being a very mild critic, and I still like the show. It was still something I look forward to every week to watching, and I am sad that it's canceled, but I definitely recognize the criticisms.
It's not perfect. No show is
No,
perfect.
absolutely.
And I've said this from day one. I think they should have stayed the hell away from Gotham and casting Batman and all of that, because it
Mhm.
becomes a bad show and not
Yeah.
a Titan show anymore. And that was a really bad move. But overall, it's a really decent show. I like the actors they chose for the parts, and yeah, I think they had a lot of potential and other stories to bring up to light.
I'm sad about Doom Patrol because that show is
Same
so
here.
fucking weird and awesome, and
I love it.
I love it too, and I just can't get enough of the butts.
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
there butts in that show?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Tewty,
yeah.
There's
Crazy
were
butts.
butts, were zombie butts actually.
Yeah, that Were Zombie, but wasn't it just released? It like thawed out or something?
Yeah, it got out of the fridge because for
Yeah.
some reason Cliff
left the
fucking
door
kept it.
open.
Yeah, he didn't close the door because he jumped in the time. I just love that
There's
fucking
zombie
show.
butts.
Oh,
Tewty.
it's
You
so
got to watch it.
fucking
They like
good.
go and eat everybody. It's hilarious.
That causes the apocalypse
Oh,
in the future.
the best
zombie
is
butts.
when all the butts are doing like a chorus line.
Oh yeah, well see that Witty might not like that part.
But it's
Super cool.
funny. It's so funny. You can see these butts dancing with top hats on, and it's hilarious.
It's a crazy show.
Don't they do Shibupi? Isn't it Shibupi?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So yeah, I love that show. I mean, if they give it a good ending, I will be happy that I have 4 solid seasons of a show that I like and it's complete and it's ended.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
there's good and there's bad. At least they know they're canceled. Hopefully they're working that in their plans so that we get complete shows that we can go back and rewatch and enjoy, versus, you know, a show that ends thinking it's getting a next season and it just ends. So I'm going to
Yes.
try to take the positive approach that at
Yeah.
least we got those 4 seasons.
Or to
Um,
milk it to a point that no one wants to watch it, like
yeah,
they've
like
done
look
with
at the
the Arrowverse.
Flash. Look at the Flash. Oh my God, that needed to end so much earlier than season 9. Jesus Christ. It's just, ugh. But yes, like at least we can get a finite ending for a show that we liked, and it sucks that we're losing the show, but at least we might get a solid ending.
That's as good as anybody could hope for, right?
A solid
Yes.
ending,
Yeah,
right?
it's,
Solid
it's
ending.
the best we can hope
A happy
for.
ending? Is that what
That's
you're talking
well,
about?
that's what I hope for. No, I'm kidding. Maybe I'm not. Just let's take a time and I think we could wrap this thing up. It's Super Bowl Sunday after all, and I know Biff's got to do some smoking, so
I'm always smoking.
he's always smoking, baby.
Me too.
That's it. Retpmus. No, that was Sekju. I'm sorry. I saw out of the corner of my eye Retmus's icon, so I mistook you for Retmus. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It'll never happen again.
No, that's a compliment.
Oh,
I'm saying it's for me. It's a compliment.
I know. I was going to say
That
that's
was a self-deprecating
You-
joke.
oh my God.
Jeez.
all right. Let's take it around the horn and get the last word. Retmus, take us to church, pal.
I don't really have anything positive really to say today. I'm kind of a little down myself actually. My neighbor next door, I was sitting in my office working and I heard a loud bang. I mean, it was like a crash and I didn't know what it was. And my neighbor went, we kind of like live on a hill a little bit. And I looked out my window and I saw his vehicle was flipped over down at the bank. And so I immediately rushed out, ran over there. His car's flipped sideways. He's an older gentleman, like 80 plus years old. I mean, he's like probably like 89, close to 90 years old. And he's trapped under like the steering wheel and he can't move. And he's trying to, get out. And he keeps saying that the brake slipped, right? So I'm trying to get him out, and I'm like underneath this vehicle that can collapse any second because it's being held up by like a tree stump. And so I'm like digging on my hands and knees under the passenger, trying to get him free. I pull him out, I finally get him out and some neighbors, help me with him and stuff. I ended up injuring my back because the angle I had to like maneuver, and I wasn't able to stand upright for over a week and a half because of it. So we got him out, he had like blood all over his hands and his face. It's where he hit the steering wheel, and they took him to the hospital and everything. He comes back home, and he's like all grateful and talking like how thankful he was and everything. And, even though I didn't let him know I hurt my back and stuff because, I didn't want to make him feel bad, but, I was just happy, I was like, yeah, I did a good thing. I helped him out. I instantly reacted. I helped him. And then it wasn't 2 days later, my wife goes over to check on him and no one answers the door. And we found out that he fell in the bathroom and he laid in the bathroom for a day and a half in that same exact spot. So I don't know what was wrong with him. So they took him to the hospital and now they're saying they had to resuscitate him once. So it doesn't look like he's going to pull through, but it's just the day before that happened, he was out there and he walks like in little tiny like steps, like there's like one of those little wind up toys, it's just like little tiny steps. That's how he walks because he's an older gentleman. And he was like so full of life. And it was just like one little thing happens and it just turns the whole tide and your perspective on things. And it just makes you wonder how much time you do have, and that you kind of need to cherish what you have and live for what you have, and not sweat the little things and just let them go. Unless it's like detrimental to yourself, don't worry about it, because what does it really matter in the long run? And I don't mean to sound down or anything. It's just I'm a little sad at the moment. And I just want people to try and get that message, unless it's something that's directly influencing you, hurting you physically, mentally. If it's just something that's bugging you and you can let it go in your life and move on and try and just be happy, because you don't know how much time you have left. And it is important to cherish what you have and who you love. And that's all I can say today.
Wow. Well, I'll say this, pal. You are a fantastic human being, and I think the world is a better place for you being in it.
I appreciate it.
I think it was a hell of a message, and I completely agree with everything you said. You're a hero. No matter what happens with your neighbor moving on, if he makes it or not, you saved his life. And I'm sure that in that moment it meant everything for him, because, as you know, he didn't know how much time he would have left or not, and you made a difference in his life. So
And I
you
mean,
you shouldn't feel down about yourself in any way possible. You're a hero, whether he would live 10 more minutes or 10 more years, right? And your final message about how we should really give our time and give importance to what really matters in our lives. It's just the way human beings should all live. It's a code we should all live by, because we stress about so many little things and stuff that a year later we look back and it means nothing right now. So the people we love and the things that are important, really important to us, it's what we should work on.
Thanks, Witty.
Yeah, and I mean, you and your wife, you saved his life twice, because who else was going to check on him when he was in the bathroom? So, like, it's hard to feel positive whenever the outcome is still negative, but you should still feel good about your actions and the things you did there. So, yeah, I definitely understand you feeling negative, especially with the injured back and everything, but you should really feel positive about the things you did, the things your wife did, and regardless of the outcome, you did the best you could in that situation, and that's all we can all try to do and hope to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
And on that note, good luck, Biff.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, Biff's got to follow that. So
he is warmed up from the bullpen.
Warming up in the bullpen.
I guess thanks, Retpmus, and no better segue than this right here. Biff, take it away, pal.
Well, I will reiterate. I'll bring us down back to kind of the gloomy side of this for a second, and then I'll bring it back up. But I want to reiterate something Retpmus said, because I learned something years ago. My wife's only child passed away 3 days before she was diagnosed with cancer. And it was obviously a very awful moment. But what that moment taught me is that don't sweat the small stuff, because no matter what happens in your life, the little things, don't let them bring you down, because they're big things. And that gave me a lot of perspective on life. So, segueing. One thing I learned on the show today is Pennyworth is greater than Waller.
Segue.
Hang out now. Subjective.
And I want to give a quick shout out to a couple Alliance mates right now, because AAD catches a lot of flack sometimes for being quote unquote non-competitive and for not going after things, even though we did finish third in a recent raid. And I want to give a shout out to two teammates. Bullvine, our all-time leading point getter in the Alliance, prior to the stupid bug where we had to boot him and bring him back in, for finishing second in the showdown arena right now, and also present and accounted for our Witty Amazon, who is fourth. So 2 top 5s for AAD in the showdown arena. So for all of you, it says we're non-competitive and we don't take anything very seriously. So I won't even say that, but fuck off.
We think
Because
we
we had
won.
two in the top 5.
Go Witty.
That's right.
I gotta
You
get
said-
those Nubia shards.
That's right.
You said 2 teammates so slowly that I was like, is he gonna say my name? 2 Tron.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, no, thank you, Witty, and also Bovine for being awesome.
All
I'd say
right.
we're all awesome.
Everybody
No,
in
no, no, no
WAD is
complaints.
awesome.
No complaints
agree.
about our alliance.
No, none
whatsoever.
whatsoever. Nope.
No.
They are truly the salt of the earth.
Except that lurking guy just refuses to 70G11 his roster. Like, what in the fuck?
God damn it, lurking.
Fucking lurking.
Shit
And by the way,
together.
he sold me a bill of goods. He was like our 6th member when no one wanted to be a part of us, when everyone wanted to say like, hey, let us know when you're 28 out of 30 or
Right.
whatever. All those fucking,
Yeah.
bigwig twats that just pushed us away. Not the people that took a chance on us, and Lurking was one of the ones that took a chance on us, and he's one of our greatest alliance mates. But he did sell me a bill of goods because he told me he was going to aggressively roster up, and he didn't. Damn it.
Well, Lurking, the ball's in your court. The shot has been fired, man.
It's like 3 years ago. For God's sakes.
He's got the resources by now.
Yeah,
3
and
years.
by the way, coincidentally, think about this. A young man named Isaac Django came to us at one point and said, I'd like to be part of the alliance. And when I talked through his roster and everything like that, it was like, no, dude, sorry, man, you're just not ready. Because it was at a time where we were more, I said, no, it's, you're just not there yet. And he stayed in touch with us. And a year later, he sent me pics of his roster, and he's fucking killer. Like one of the best rosters we have, like in 1 year. So Lurking, if Isaac can do it in a year, and now, by the way, Isaac is part of our alliance and one of our great members. If he can do it in a year, get to fucking going.
That's right, damn it.
That's a great final message.
Oh, is there
Sorry,
anyone else?
Lurking, I didn't mean to get that hardly called out. That was just meant to be a joke.
Oh, is there anybody else you want to browbeat live on the show, or
No, that was or me or Biff. Jesus.
Oh,
No, I'm good. Hey, listen, let's go. Don't sweat the small stuff, folks.
that's right. Thanks very much, Biff. Much appreciated. Tewty, give us your last word, pal.
Okay. So I will be a little happier version of what Retpmus brought to the table today. And that is the fact that I am a young, beautiful motherfucker. Okay. But you know what I do is I procrastinate like you wouldn't fucking believe. Whatchamacallit. I don't want to be 90 years old and be like, I never did that thing that I said I was going to do every single year since I was 16 years old. Never fucking did it, So, I'm got a bit of a dad bod and everything going on. And I have always told myself, I want like a 6-pack, I want the nice titties that bounce when I flex them, and whatchamacallit. I always find an excuse not to go out to the gym and go and work on that shit. And so what I did to inspire myself and to not procrastinate is how all those like apps have like algorithms, that they show you what you want to see. I started looking up, like men who lift or like abs, shit like that. And here's the weird side effect to that is that now I see so much porn on my Instagram that I'm not inspired anymore. It's just like, man, I need a bigger dick. I can't work on that. There's nothing to procrastinate there.
I think they have actually devices that you can like strap on and like slowly make it bigger.
Yeah, the Swedish
Well, good
penis
to
pump.
know.
Yeah,
Thank you
strap-on
for
would do that.
breaking my wallet now.
It's the same thing.
Um,
You know, like the African women when they put those chains on their necks that make their necks super long after a period of time. You know what I'm talking about?
hope I don't have. Do I have to attach a chain to my dick and let it sag? Is that how you get it?
Put a brick on the
I think
other
he's
end of it.
suggesting a much tighter cock ring, I believe. Or like a stack
That's
of
about
cock
it.
rings, maybe a cock ring stack.
Fuck.
Oh, I don't know. It was like it
Going to
was
be
a
a hell of a business for Retpmus.
it was a
if you
medical
can pull it off.
device. I think it was called Peyronie's disease, like when you have a
Oh no,
curvature.
That's the
don't
Bentley.
don't
And
no, no,
this was
no Peyronie's disease.
This was a
question.
device that was
Please.
created to straighten it, like through gradual time, and then but it had other side effects that it made it actually bigger, is what I believe it is.
No Peyronie's disease discussion, please. I did that ad on Sirius XM. I almost crashed my car every time they start saying that.
What?
Side
the
effects include penal fracture.
Oh,
Ah,
All right.
God damn.
My point is, don't procrastinate. You know, if you
Yeah.
want to go do that thing that you've always been trying to do, which I do have some success in. You know, I was like, you know, I do want to be more in the service industry. I want to be more bartending than financial world. You know, so I was thankfully I had the gall to go and quit my job and go back to something I love instead of you know, living life in a shitty way full of drama and people who hate their lives. And you know, that was not something I enjoyed. So I'm very happy with that decision, and I didn't procrastinate on it. So now I just have to do the other thing that makes me healthier. So everybody, please do what you love and get the fuck out of your couch. Stop watching TV. Go do some shit.
Yeah, Tewty. And by the way, I verbally resigned from my job that I don't love.
Love that.
Without another job. I will officially resign
Wow.
next Friday.
More balls than I do.
And I am going to be doing something I love, no matter how long it takes, and doing something that matters in the world, no matter how long it takes to find it. And sometimes, you know, to your point, I felt like I have procrastinated. And before you even said that, I decided in the last 2 weeks that I'm not procrastinating anymore. And I'm going to love what I do, and I'm going to make a difference in the world, and fuck it all.
I love
So,
that. Well done.
Damn right.
and I'm so excited about it.
Well, good for you, dude.
I was literally like this entire episode, I was like, what are my last words going to be? Like, how do I like outdo myself from sucking a dick from last episode? And I still didn't outdo myself, but
just
it was a decent message.
double it next episode. Now I take 2.
Yeah. Now I suck double dicks.
Go suck and fuck at the same time. Go be the Eiffel Tower Bridge. I don't know if you know what that is, but hopefully you can go Google that, and that'll be a
Go
fun
get
adventure.
a Roman war helmet.
Oh, there we go. Love that.
Jesus. All right. Is that your final word, Tewty?
Yes, I'm done. Move on.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Sekju, tell us what's going down. Let's hear your penile woes.
My penile woes. I haven't had any penile. It's been mouth woes recently with the.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of been like a little bit down there at the end there with the whole stories and the sadness, and you know, everybody's got their stuff they want to share, and you know, I agree, you got to focus on the positive in life. So one more shout out, I'm going to shout out to my buddy LeBeau, because LeBeau and I have been constantly sparring in the chat about Cheshire and Trigon and soups and stuff, and I just want you to know, buddy, I love you. Even if it comes off like we're arguing, I still think you're awesome, and so is your writing. But anyway, also lurking, sorry for getting you called out again, my bad, buddy. But other than that, I just want to say, like, stay positive. Like, you know, things might suck at one point in your life, but they're sure to get better. At the worst point in my life that I can think of, and when I was kind of down and out and things were really going poorly for me, I found out I was going to have my son, so that kind of was a big turnaround. I've had moments where like somebody died, somebody got cancer, I was in the hospital, but then my dad went into remission. So, you know, there's things to find positivity, silver lining in all situations, and you can't let the negative in life bring you down, because there's always going to be the perception that there is so much more negative than there is positive. So you just got to take those positive moments, capture them, cherish them, and make the most of them, because that's what's going to carry you through between those seas of negativity, basically, is those positive moments. So grab them when you can and hold on to them. That's going to be my final message. Thanks.
Damn right. Thanks, Sekju. Appreciate it, buddy. All right, Witty Amazon, you get to wrap us up today. What's the last word?
And I want the last word to be positive. I mean, we all know life is made of ups and downs. We all gotta go through them. Let's fix on the ups. Let's be nice to one another. Let's enjoy the time we have together, because we don't know how much that is. Shout out to Retpmus for what he did with his neighbor, because, you know, being a healthcare professional and working on that field, I know the toll he has on him right now, because sometimes we do everything we can and we save a person, and, you know, it feels great. And sometimes you do everything we can and we still fail and we feel like a failure, but we really shouldn't, because all was done, and sometimes it's just fate. So you shouldn't be feeling down. You shouldn't. The only thing that should be keeping him down is his back being hurt, because in my eyes he's a hero, and that's my final message. I'm proud to be his teammate, and I'm proud to know him, because he's a great guy.
Absolutely. I want to second that one. Thanks, Witty.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Witty.
Thank you. Definitely.
All right. And with that, let's take this thing home. We want to thank all of you for taking the time to be with us today. Get on our website, AtlantisAfterDark.com. Grab some cool swag from the merch store. Get on Discord, talk directly with us, and then hit that subscribe button on YouTube, because you know you want to. For BIFF, for Witty, for Retpmus, Sekju, and Tewty, we'll see you all right here next time for another fabulous episode of Double AD. So long, everybody.
You know, I'm confident if Retpmus was a billionaire, we'd have Batman.